Is Vic here or you go?
Yes. If there, you go there, you go there, mom there. I see, okay, well. Okay, I'll just remind everybody. Okay, say you can call me and order.
Tuesday, April 14th at 8:37. I'm calling the meeting to order.
Second. No.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
The first item is public input.
Any public input? Doesn't see that.
Item 2, correspondence.
We
Get anything?
Nope. Unless we want to count George's flyer for what is it, green crab? It's a green crab event. He was gonna talk a little bit about it, but he couldn't be here, so I will just say that if it looks interesting to you and you want more details, definitely get in contact with him about it, but all the information there, it's in the name.
Thanks. Has everyone seen the minutes from March 10th? Any discussion? I make a motion to approve the minutes.
You need somebody to second, Jonathan?
With the noted, George did make one change in his email about a date. March 19th, it was a date.
Oh, the minutes say that Roxanne was here on the 10th and she should have been. So to say to your motion, to approve the minutes with George's edit then. And then Jonathan, you're seconding that motion?
Yes.
And then all in favor?
Report of the harbor master.
The one main thing that I need to let you guys know, I was notified by Tony Seafood on Saturday about an opening that happened yesterday for them to go and harvest our quahogs. They're giving us an excellent price, so much so that I wanted to move forward, and we will be doing our restock on Wednesday. Their clams are coming over on the first ferry, which will be 9, so they'll be here for 9:30. We have our skiff and we're gonna launch 2 of the pump out boats this morning. They'll be ready to go, so we'll have 3 boats to utilize. And I hope you guys can join us. I apologize for the short notice, but we're gonna be saving probably $1,200 on the same amount of clams that we normally get.
Great. I can't help, you'll find.
I saw that.
how many volunteers would you want? Do you need extra people?
As many as
As
possible,
possible.
even just to get
Even
the
just to get the
clams
stuff,
onto
the
the
clams
boats,
into the boat.
not
I've got
everybody's around.
2 high school students, myself and Katie, Bill. Bill, so I'd like at least 3 people on a boat, 1 driving and 2 offloading. If that's not the case, then we'll just have to deal with who shows up.
I don't think I can make it, but I'll try to find more people. And what about the pathology? Is that,
Pathology came back completely cleared. Department of Health and DEM were more than happy to let us do this early and get it off their plates as well. So
so it would be 9:30 tomorrow?
9:30, the clams will get here, so I should be able to be at Payne's Dock by 10 o'clock to start unloading onto the boats.
Okay.
Then we close it for a week.
And then Andy's Way will have to be closed for 7 days, which again shouldn't be a problem because we don't have a lot of people out there. Most people are going in the inner ponds right now anyways, so.
Yeah.
Anything else about that? We have hired 3 new shellfish wardens. They will be starting the end of May, beginning of June. Hopefully, all 3 of them can stay through October. 2 are coming with marine biology backgrounds, and the other is with a criminal justice background.
Great.
I think that's what I have for you. Everything else you can quickly skim. Any questions about tomorrow?
I guess not.
So, the report from the chair. Yeah, George had something come up, so he just sent his report to me, so I am just going to read through that really quickly. So he has a note, so on the broodstock initiative, he has a note from Rob Holmberg. The Block Island clams are well conditioned and we're planning to spawn them this week, probably Wednesday, and he said that on the 13th, yesterday. Yesterday we set 10 million larvae from the first group of clams we spawned, which came from Bristol Harbor. They will raise the temperature to 80 degrees Fahrenheit to induce spawning for our cohogs. For the soft shell project, Dr. Banker and a student were on Block Island March 19th to install water data sensors and recruitment boxes. George, Kate and I assisted. And then from an update from Roxanne at Providence College concerning the sensors. Yesterday she said, I would like to deploy them for the entire clam growing season, so approximately March to October. The big sensors collect 8 parameters about every 5 minutes. I will need to visit the sensors about every 2 months or so to remove fouling, offload data, and check the batteries and seals. The data needs to be downloaded off of the device. This can be done by connecting one end of a special cable to the sensor and connecting the other end to what is basically a Bluetooth device. My phone then interacts with the Bluetooth component and I download the data onto the phone. From there, I can reset the instrument and get it ready to deploy for another 2 months or so. And the parameters she's collecting are temperature, salinity, turbidity, pH, oxidation reduction potential, dissolved oxygen concentration, an algae sensor that I'm not gonna pretend I can pronounce, used in environmental monitoring to detect cyanobacteria specifically. And then chlorophyll A sensor, which detects all phytoplankton. The purpose of these measurements will be to compare and contrast the onset conditions of the two areas as part of an effort to determine why Cormorant Cove has a more viable shellfish, soft shell clam population. In Cormorant Cove, a water sensor was installed on a piling at the Greenlee's dock in the same location as last year, and 5 recruitment boxes were deployed, 2 each under the Crane and Greenlee docks, and 1 under the McDonald dock. At Andy's Way, a water sensor was installed inside of a crab trap and anchored on the flats deep enough to stay submerged at low tide. The site replaces the one formerly on the Rock Island Flood piling, as it is closer to the netted soft shell plots. And then 5 recruitment boxes were deployed in approximately the same location over there as last year. And then her work plan. The current plan for Dr. Banker and students is to sample the plots and replace / rebury the predator deterrent netting that came up over the winter on Thursday, April 30th. If anybody is around then, to help dig up some nets and put some nets back. The Harbors Department and members of the Shellfish Commission will hopefully be assisting. And then prior to the 30th, we need to prepare new nets with floats for deployment, which I will be doing. Under consideration is a plan to initiate 24-hour crab trap sets at both Andy's Way and Cormorant Cove to compare the relative abundance of those predators. This may help explain the apparent population differences. So that is the gist of
You
our
said
news.
we're making this?
So yes, I have all the materials at the boathouse, so I'm just putting a few together. Because
You use the floats on the old one? Okay.
yeah, so we still have some floats in the boathouse that I can start out with, and then we can also reuse those other floats.
Okay, so when are we building a new one?
Within the next week, if you want to help, I can make it. We're taking the pump out boats out of the boathouse later today, and then we'll have more room in the boathouse, so I can schedule a time
Whatever.
before the 30th. Yeah, I'll send out an email. That'd be great.
Back to the schedule.
Cool.
That, so.
Perfect.
What would be helpful is going to Andy's Way and getting the floats off of the net that came up. We had a lot of damage because of the storms.
Okay.
We lost basically every stake. So we have those prepped and painted at the boathouse. But all of the netting is still there at Andy's Way.
We don't care about the net.
I think we're done with the net. Yeah,
Yeah.
they just got tore up.
Yeah, I'll go out through the bag and collect
Awesome. Thank you.
And then that day we can bring the skiff over and just load the skiff up. I think it'd be a lot easier and faster to get rid of the netting
Oh, yeah, probably.
that way instead of having to haul it all the way to the parking lot.
Yes, they were painted red.
So that was the work plan for shellfish,
Yes.
soft shell clam plots.
Can I ask a question? The $12,000 that we got, which is great, did that cover the cost of removal investment or no? Good. I guess the owner just, okay.
Yes.
I have nothing else to say.
Hey,
Behind us.
So within George's report, I read over the work plan. So just keep that April 30th date in mind.
Hey, one more question.
Yeah.
Is that owner allowed to put another boat in this pond if it is previous abandoned?
Right now, there is no ordinance stating otherwise.
Maybe there should be. how do we propose an ordinance?
Well, there's now an ordinance, they need to show insurance and registration. So if it were to happen again,
But they, that
the
was,
insurance would.
that was already an ordinance that he didn't follow. So I had to take it upon the town's efforts to remove it. To keep the rest of the boating community safe, if you wanna say it that way. I have one more individual that I'm dealing with right now that does not have insurance. It is a slow, arduous process, but,
And
I
insurance
think-
isn't all that expensive.
no, it's not expensive.
I think. It's just woefully not wanting to get it.
Sorry?
It's just woefully not wanting to get it, if you have a people bill.
Okay, anything else? No new action items from today. Volunteer dates. Send us. So I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
And Phil seconds, and then all in
All
favor? Perfect. All right. Quick meeting.
Thank you.